What's up, y'all, and welcome into Forte Catholic. I'm so glad that you are here. I am back from vacation and have all the energy in the world, and we used it on today's show with Allison recording with me here in studio. Tremendous show for you today. We are continuing to grow. Take that, you dumb pandemic, but to continue to grow even more, we need your help. Two things. Hit the subscribe button if you are watching on YouTube or wherever you are listening to podcasts. Subscribing is the best thing for us. Super helpful. And share this on social media generally or to a friend who you know is Catholic and might be bored in their faith. Hopefully this can help. Send it to them, text it to them, tweet it, Instagram it, put it on your TikTok and make a dance to the Tantu Marigo song. I don't care what you do, but do us a huge favor. Subscribe and share if you like today's episode. Without further ado, enjoy. What's up? And welcome to Forte Catholic. I am Taylor Schroll. That is Allison Sullivan. Allison, welcome to my house.
Hi, Taylor. How are you?
I'm doing well. I got to spend time at your house.
True.
It was 2 weeks ago now, because last week I was on vacation, which we're going to talk about. Both of us went on vacation recently.
We did.
We also both had kids finish school.
Indeed.
A week and a half ago.
Yes.
And we went over to your house. My
little
kid.
celebration.
Yeah. On the last day of school, my kid almost drowned. We saved him. It was tremendous.
In the nick of time. We're just fine.
It's your pool's fault. We're blaming your pool. I'm just kidding. It's my kid's fault. Or it's my fault for not teaching him how to swim, but he's 8 years old.
Little stressful.
Oh, man. But you and I had like 2 hours to talk, which we
it was
never
nice.
do
I
off
know.
air.
We never have time for that, right?
We
use this as our socializing, and it was nice to actually socialize.
So we got to talking about a couple of things, and two of those things are going to be the first two segments of our show today.
Right. See, we should do that more. We should socialize more often, and then it becomes material.
I know. Both
because we realize how delightful we are.
We're tremendous together. Both of us were saying the last time we recorded, I don't know if we said it on, I think we said it on air, but it was just like, we're just out of stuff to say.
Yeah. Maybe it's the time of year. I mean, but there is a shift like in season. And so then things kind of started happening. But yes, for a while there, I felt a little depleted.
But just us sitting together gave us two segments worth of material.
Right.
So maybe we should do it. And now it's summer and my kids are here, which is crazy. That's the crazy thing.
Okay, I have a question. Are you a summertime parent? Do you enjoy that?
No. Especially now that I'm working from home, because this is my work.
Yeah.
And I love my kids.
Yes.
But like one kid who's the youngest interrupting me during the workday when the other two kids are at school, like that's cute. But all three of them interrupting me every 15 minutes
lost its novelty.
Yeah.
For certain. Yeah. So I am a summertime parent, but it's because
you're so much better than me.
No, I know that it sounds that way. I do. I hear that, and it's not.
And I said it anyway.
No, it's not so. It's that I buck against system and organization and schedule. You know this about me. Like, I want to cancel everything. Someone cancels on me.
You tried to cancel this recording 3 times.
A jillion times. I'm delighted when someone cancels on me. So I love not having a schedule. It's my very, very favorite. I am giddy during summertime because nobody's telling me what to do. Except you.
I am, yeah. Which is why I'm the only person you could rebel against.
That's right.
It gets heightened in the summer.
Yes.
Oh man, but yeah, we did it. Your kids are skipping things today. So
yes, they are. See, you know I love a good cancellation.
But man, I love schedules. I love
Are you being facetious right now? You're not.
Thing.
You do.
I don't. Okay. Maybe I like systems better than I like schedules. I'll put it that way.
Okay, I like that.
I have a system of my life. Like I have shows that I edit and produce. That's the bulk of my work is editing and producing other people's shows. So I have shows that I do on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday. No, I don't like schedule.
So it's a routine. Right. It's a routine, not a schedule. I like that. Right. Yeah.
So I can do those shows at any point in the day, but like if they're due Tuesday, they have to get done Monday, right? But like when I get knocked off of that, it frustrates me.
Yeah. Okay, so this is going to make me sound like a big fat jerk, and I just want to ask for forgiveness in advance. So if someone is like, oh, hey, let's have a phone date. And I'm like, yeah, great. Thursday's great. And then they're like, okay, what time? And I'm like, and we're done here. Like, now we're not having a phone date because I feel controlled. So I think that I probably have some issues that I might need to work through.
I wasn't going to say it, but I'll agree.
Oh, please. Like, you have any problem telling me I have issues. No, but getting the kids up and out the door and then getting them to practice all has to be very, like, with 5 kids, very finely organized, very intricately organized. And so that makes me feel oppressed. So,
which, a benefit of me doing Forte Catholic full time is that I don't have as much of a schedule anymore, right? Like back when I was before all my other jobs, like I had to be certain places and do certain things. So I used to say, like, I have this window.
Right.
We have to record.
We have to make it happen.
It can either be 1 to 2:30 or 1:30 to 3.
Yes,
but
that's
now
what I got.
I'm like, just come over Monday. Like, as long as it gets done sometime.
Yeah,
today.
2 a.m.'s good. You're awake.
Today's show is going out tomorrow, so it needs to get done today.
Okay, good to know.
But
I didn't realize that.
I was just like, just come over.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
So
here we are. Cheers.
So we did it. So the only time I like my routine being shaken up is when I go on vacation, which I did last week.
Yay!
I tell you what, even then though, like, it takes me a few days on vacation to like relax because I'm like, I could be doing something. I could be working. I could be doing whatever. But the week before, I did 2 weeks worth of work.
Yep.
Which we could talk about that another time. It drives me crazy. I'd rather work on vacation than do 2 weeks of work in a week. It stressed me out.
Right.
But I went on vacation. You went on vacation with your family, and I'm gonna be nice today, and we're gonna let you start. You start with your vacation.
Oh, well, how about that? So Seth graduated from Notre Dame with his MBA, which was a huge celebration in our house.
Dr. Seth Sullivan.
Yes, needed an MBA because
graduated with
truthfully,
his MBA.
he would be a professional student if his ball and chain wife would allow him, but I'm like, no more degrees. So, anyways,
I said he got it. He did all that work to get a demotion. He went from doctor to master.
Right. So, but that was a big celebration for us for a lot of different reasons. But we stopped in Memphis on the way. So it was this ginormous road trip because it was 16 hours in the car, and we just broke it up in Memphis. And so this was a rookie mistake. I thought that because we left the baby at home with my parents, that it would be, and because my kids are, they're kind of grown. It's like death isn't around every corner anymore. And they just so happen naturally to be like camels. They don't have to stop all the time to pee or get snacks. And they're not barfers. Like, nobody gets car sick. So I'm like, this is going to be a dream. So it's really all my fault for having these really elevated expectations. So we get in the car, and instead
expecting to enjoy time with your family.
Expecting to enjoy. And then it's like, and so you start off all giddy, like I literally have this selfie where I'm like, look at us, we're going somewhere. This is delightful. Everybody's happy. Everybody has their little comfort things. Like, this is the book I want to read. This is the stuffed animal under this arm. And, here's and then the very next picture is everyone has like started denying farts. Like, everyone is, fighting over who's listening to what, at what volume. And I took another selfie where I'm like, this is a matter of minutes. I mean, it had gone downhill so quickly. But because of the elevated expectations where everyone's grown now, so we're all going to enjoy each other, I found that it's just a different level of annoyance. It's like the annoyance of toddlers is so physical. It's like you are pulling over and you are pulling over to breastfeed or whatever. I mean, it was just hard to go places with these little kids and the crying and the being uncomfortable and whatever. And so anyways, the difficulty of the older kids was just a bit of a shock. I mean, it was not a vacation. It was like working on location is what it was.
So the lesson is, don't expect to enjoy your family.
No,
if we're just laying it out the way you laid it out, that's the only logical conclusion.
There were some shining, redeeming moments, but for the most part, it was really just the same as it was when they were little with just new problems. It was like we kind of got rid of those old problems for some new ones, which was just a lot of like teenage angst, and like, I mean, a surge of testosterone while stuck in a car is...
Now that I have experienced.
Oh, my goodness. Like the impulsivity and then the arguing, the bickering. I mean, it was kind of nice when they couldn't talk, So it was a lot. It was a lot of family time. We did really enjoy the city of Memphis. And then, of course, my husband's graduation was very exciting for all of us. But So, yeah, I mean, it was good. Overall, it was good.
So what an ad for Catholic families.
Right?
There's two
I
good
know.
experiences in a two and a half weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so what about yours?
That's really how we're leaving your story.
I mean, what? You want a bow? I do
It's
usually.
just so funny because you're such a positive person. And we just talked about your family for 5 minutes and you're like, they suck.
I mean,
except for my husband who graduated with a degree worse than he did 20 years ago.
Gosh, you're right. I am going to feel bad about this later. But this is the good that happened. Okay, so I'm in a car with these young people, and it became I can't explain it, but I had this idea, and it was with certitude. It was like, this is happening, where y'all need to go to overnight camp. I mean, I went to overnight camp. It was delightful. It was wonderful. I looked forward to it. It was exciting. My kids have never been to overnight camp. And all of a sudden, I realized, like I said, with certainty, that it was like, this needs to happen, and it needs to happen stat. Because you need to go somewhere and be uncomfortable. You need to go somewhere and not know anyone and present a likable self. You need a good, healthy dose of Jesus. There was just a lot of things where you need to miss home. Like, you need to miss us. Like,
Right.
let's just,
You're taking me for granted.
Yes. all the things. So that was like a highlight that came out of, close proximity for multiple hours at a time.
It's interesting that it was a good bow, but it also is a good segue for something that, like, you and I talked about, and I kind of brought it up a second ago, but like kind of poking fun at my son, right? Where it's like, it's not his fault that he doesn't know how to swim. It's not his fault that he doesn't know how to ride a bike. I think I talked about that on the show a few months ago, where like there are just certain things that I have missed in parenting.
Right.
Because we're busy and life happens and all these things are going on and COVID and me working and all this stuff, right? Where it's just like, I'd never got him swim lessons. So then, like, I can't relax when we're at the pool with an 8-year-old, which you should be able to, and it's not his fault. It's mine for just kind of missing that, right? So getting those swim lessons this summer is going to be a good thing. I hadn't gotten him involved in, like, city sports. Which I grew up on, right? So you'd think it'd be a thing that would be obvious to me. And like we first thought about it, and then COVID hit, and then
sure. He's really just kind of coming into that age, I guess.
And then like riding a bike. I was like, how does he not know how to ride a bike? Oh, because I haven't bought him a bike. And then I tried to buy him a bike and try to skip this training wheel phase. You can't. Like, you can't skip that, right? So we've been trying to make good on all those things that we just kind of missed.
Right.
And it's funny, like you're further along in the parenting thing. People yell at me when I call you old, so I'm just going to call you
do they?
statesman.
Well, hello. I'm fist bumping you, whoever you are.
Boop. I just punched you.
Is fist bumping something an old person might say?
No. It got real popular during COVID because germs don't travel over knuckles. That's how science works. But like, your son is going into 7th grade and has never been to overnight camp. Like, I was like, oh, like you probably did that at a younger age.
Sure.
I did that at a younger age.
For sure.
And it's just like, oh, like things happen and you realize things. And it's like, my son is so much more advanced in certain things than I was at his age.
Yeah.
But he's also missed stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, think about how things change. I mean, I feel like my parents grew up in a kind of hide your secret generation, and we've grown up in a tell your story generation. And so I am nervous to send my kid to overnight camp because being in ministry and, public speaking, people come up to you and tell you their trauma. I mean, when you're like speaking at a women's retreat, people come up and want to share their story with you. And
also not an experience I've had.
Well, but I just feel like we know more about the things that people have experienced, the wounds that we've gathered, the trauma. And so sending my kid off to camp makes me nervous, and my parents probably weren't experiencing that level of nervousness. Likewise, we're not outside as much as we were. Our kids aren't outside as much as we were. And so the bike and the swimming and all of that, I mean, that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to not teach your kid how to swim, because obviously that's a safety thing. I mean, that all needs to happen, but it takes a moment to like have that realization that like, oh, things are different. Like, I didn't just magically teach myself how to ride a bike. Like, we were outside, and that was, a very naturally occurring thing because of how we lived life.
My dad taught me how to swim by just throwing me in the pool.
Yeah,
I tried that with my son. It didn't work.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
things are different. All right. So I went on vacation. First thing about the vacation, I mentioned it earlier. Like I don't know where it comes from, but like the dream is for everybody like not to work on vacation.
Sure.
And I get that for people. Like, I've just never had that experience because I've always had work to do.
Right.
That's not like I don't.
Well,
go
and you
it,
can take it. You can take it
right,
with you.
I can take it with me, and I don't work at a place. Like I don't work
Right.
at like Best Buy where I walk in,
Sure.
clock in for 8 hours. Like
walk under an exit sign.
you can't take that Best Buy with
Peace
you
out.
to the lake. You know,
Totally.
like
Right.
But like, so for me, especially like I have one person that works with me that does some of the editing with me, but it's mostly I do 90%, 95% of what everything that Forte Catholic does. Like I'm the one person ministry, right?
Yeah.
And so like I have work to do, and like one of the big things that I do is edit for other people, and I can't just stop doing that for a week.
Right.
Because a lot of these people, a lot of my clients don't know how to edit, which is why I do it. Some people know how, and they'll be like, okay, I can do it for a week or whatever. That's fine, but that's not the majority. So for the week before vacation, I did 2 weeks worth of work that week.
Yeah.
And it stressed me out like
that's
crazy. Like 3-4 days, like physically stressed, mentally stressed, spiritually stressed.
Yeah.
Where it was like, but then like going on vacation and not having to work for a few days is like really nice. But like I didn't finish it all. I had 3 shows I had to do.
Oh, darn.
Like I edit like 12 to 15 shows a week. So to only do 3 is nothing. I did 1 on like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? Not a big deal. But for me, it's like I would almost rather just work on vacation, like when my kids are taking a nap or what. Like
Sure.
Down times on vacation. So have you ever thought about that?
Well, okay. So I think, have you heard this? Europeans, when they go on vacation, I have a girlfriend who lives in Italy, and she was like, oh, when we go on vacation, it's always 2 weeks. I'm like, well, how about that? And it's for that reason exactly, because you have to come down for the first week of everything that you just experienced leading up to vacation. Yeah. And then you need the second week to really unwind. I mean, even when I taught school, it was like, okay, I'd really like a mental health day on this Friday for a nice 3-day weekend, but I need to prepare for a sub, and that sounds so hard.
Right.
Like
you have to work to not work.
Yes, getting ready for it. I'm a little like you where I mean, how much of your work is kind of what you enjoy? So a lot of my work involves, writing. And so I really kind of need to write just to stay like the tiniest bit sane. So I do like taking a little pocket of vacation to do what maybe looks like work, but is actually really, healing for me or productive or something. So I don't know that I'm much better than my husband, but I don't know that I'm all that
That's
good.
Clipped out. Just
like
the guy who has an MD and a master's degree.
But I don't know that I'm all that good at like 100% relaxation, and probably not many of us are. Just 100%.
Yeah,
we obviously need a second week.
Well, I don't know. Being home is really easy for me. I like vacation, but by the end, I'm like,
you're ready to get home.
I'm ready to go home.
Yeah.
I like it here. There's Wi-Fi.
I love a hotel. A hotel. When I threaten to run away, it is always because I want to be in a hotel. I want very few things. I want like a big white bed. I want a TV. I want Netflix. I want a nightstand, a lamp, and then a sink and a toilet. And it's just like this nice little reminder of how little you really need in life.
I've never thought of the specific.
Oh my gosh, it's
I'm
so
just like,
wonderful.
Is there Wi-Fi? Like everything else will take care of itself.
So great. And then if every couple of days somebody just came and kind of like straightened your sheets a little bit. I mean, I am in heaven in a hotel. The simplicity.
I like it too, just not forever.
Oh,
it's so easy to be here. The last thing on the vacation, the good thing is like there was all that stress to get all the work done, but then it was really nice to only have to do 3 shows. Last week.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love it. I love
like,
that for you.
My life was so much slower than it usually is.
Yeah.
To the point where like we did things that we didn't plan. Like I woke up like 30 minutes later than the rest of my family, which is not crazy. That's not out of the ordinary.
Right.
But they all left, and they were like, my wife had started doing this like really complicated puzzle. Like it wasn't a I've never seen a puzzle like this. Maybe other people have.
Was it 3D or something?
It was the shape of a turtle. Like it wasn't a rectangle. It wasn't a rectangle
like
with a turtle
flat.
on it. It was like there were his 4.
Oh, I see.
His tail and his 4 fins,
yes.
and then or I guess they're fins, and then like the shell was kind of another stick out thing.
So to be clear, you couldn't start with the flat edges. Like
so here's what was crazy is I always do. My wife's an insane person and just try. Oh, I think these match. I don't like the 700 pieces. I'm like, you have to start with the edges. But
yeah.
But they made this puzzle to make people like me crazy. There are two things wrong with the normal Edge start. One was that there were pieces. It's the craziest puzzle I've ever seen. There were pieces that went in the inside that were edge pieces.
That had flat.
They like four would meet up.
Yeah.
There were also pieces of the puzzle that were shaped like other sea things. Like there was a starfish shaped puzzle piece. There was a fish. There was another turtle.
This is bizarre.
And then the other thing that was wrong with the edges is, like when you put edge pieces together, they stick together.
Sure.
There was this stretch of 6 in a row where the 6 on the edge didn't connect to each other.
That ain't right. I hate it.
I was going crazy.
I'm done.
So it was like, part of it was frustrating, but it was a cool challenge.
Yeah.
And we didn't even realize it was a 460 piece puzzle, but because of how complicated it was, it took us 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
3.5 hours. And we had no idea it took that long. It was just me and my wife sitting there doing something together that wasn't like watching TV or like.
Yeah.
Like we didn't talk for 3.5 hours, but you talked over the course of 3.5 hours, right? You get your own little thing.
Right.
And then, so it was just really nice to like, I never have that like really slow down time.
Right.
Like even when I'm relaxing, I'm like, I could be working. I could be spending time with the family. I could be working out. I could be doing this.
Sure.
It was just like, I'm doing a puzzle right now. That's
you're
the only
so
option.
present. It's like the present moment. I mean, something is always pulling us forward or backward. And there's a lot of really divine things that happen in just being present and saying, okay, what do you have for me here? Okay, so Seth and I, it was our 10th anniversary and we hadn't gone anywhere in a really long time. We were just thick in the middle of kids. And so we saved up. I mean, it was a big deal being married 10 years and we went to Jamaica and we went for like 7 nights. I mean, it was a lot. It was a big deal for us. And normally when I travel, I like to no, let's rent a car. Let's go experience the thing. But however many, 5 kids in and 10 years later, it was like, all inclusive sounds great. Like I'll take my drink with an umbrella. And so anyways, but because we were there 7 nights, I am telling you that that moment, like the magic moment, didn't happen until the 5th night. We were at dinner.
That could be taken many different ways.
Well, I know. I knew as it was coming out that was like, but
this magic moment.
We were sitting at dinner and it was on this like pier type thing, and like there's just the sound of waves, and we just took stock of like, this is what we want to hang on to of the last 10 years. These are some things that we need to get rid of. But it was this beautiful conversation.
2 of those things you need to get rid of were your kids, and that was awkward when you got back. Can we really go through with this?
Oh my gosh, Taylor. Taylor's dark humor. But it didn't happen until the 5th night. Well, how often are you really on vacation for more than 5 nights? I mean, that's a lot, So I love the idea of just having enough time, and whether that's in a microcosm over a puzzle for 3.5 hours or on a big anniversary trip for 7 nights.
Yours sounds much better.
Yeah.
You won this segment.
I know.
You're better than your husband. Your vacation's better than mine. You hate your family.
Yes.
Which is a good segment for
Perfect.
you. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. With your help, we just hit over 20,000 views on YouTube. Thank you guys so much. YouTube.com/Forte Catholic, where we have posted the last 75 episodes of this podcast, which is crazy. It's crazy that we've done that many on video. 75 full-length episodes you can see and not just hear us. And then we're having a lot of fun over there. We've got other things like the Roast of Father Anthony Sharapa. We've got music that I'm releasing periodically. Doing some praise and worship, recording that right here in the studio. And we've also got some other guests and some other games. So check it out today, youtube.com/Forte Catholic. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the summer, and we're in the 400, so we could use your help there. Thank you guys so much. It helps us out. And, I mean, you need some Catholic entertainment this summer. Subscribe today, youtube.com/Forte Catholic. Welcome back to Forte Catholic. I am Taylor Stroll. That is Allison Jemima Sullivan.
What?
Well, they took her off the syrup. We got to keep her alive somehow.
I will proudly wear that name then.
Good. One of the other things we were talking about when we were sitting on your back porch and watching our kids swim, play in the pool, and run around in circles and all sorts of other crazy things, is I said something that just made you go aghast. And I've never seen you like that.
I've never heard you say aghast.
I'm 84% positive what it means. You were taken aback. I think those mean the same thing.
Agape. We could keep this up.
That was weird. We're going to end with that one. So, a way that I see myself, or that I have seen myself historically, I think it has been a constant theme in my life. And you didn't see it at all, which I thought was interesting. And we kind of started talking about it, but we got interrupted by kids as much as I get interrupted during the summer at my work day.
Sure.
So we didn't really get into it.
Right.
But I found I thought about it a lot over my week of vacation, because it's I see myself like this, and I know myself pretty well, but you know me pretty well too. And I've known myself for 31 years. You've known me for 5 or 6. So it's this interesting thing. I think I've gotten better at this thing, but I don't think it's completely gone, and you don't see it at all, which I thought was fascinating. And the thing that we were talking about, I think that I've been a narcissist for most of my life, and I still think that I think that I am currently a narcissist that knows it and is trying to be holier about it and is trying to be less of a narcissist, but it's still there.
Can I wait? I feel like you should maybe read I don't know what, or I have so much to say.
Initial thoughts. We are going to get to this. I looked up what a narcissist was after. We're going to go through the characteristics, because I think I have a lot of them, and I think I don't have some of them, but I think I used to have all of them.
Okay. Here are my thoughts. I feel like that I am a person who has anxious moments. Okay. So I have moments of anxiety, but they are parallel to anxiety-provoking events, and those responses are probably commiserate, right?
We're just using big words. I don't know what I started here.
So if my anxiety's here, it's because a moment has happened here.
This magic moment.
I feel like there's always an opportunity to get me to sing very badly on your podcast, and so I appreciate you illustrating my lack of musicality to your many listeners. Okay, so to say I struggle with anxiety, for me, feels I can't think of a word right now besides insensitive to people who have a clinical diagnosis with anxiety. So when you say, "Oh yeah, I'm a narcissist," I'm like, eek, because
I'm offending the narcissists now.
No, I'm not worried about their feelings. I'm worried about people who have suffered from narcissists, who have experienced narcissistic abuse, who have very real narcissists in their life. I'm worried about how they hear you say that, because I experience you very differently than that. You are an excellent communicator. You and I have had conflict. You are receptive and open and apologetic even. I know. I mean, so I get nervous with you throwing around terms that can be dangerous to other people when you are a lovely human being.
Here's the thing. I take your compliment, but how many
But I raise you?
How many of our conflicts have ended with me getting what I wanted?
I thought you were going to say have started because of my narcissism.
No, I think I've gotten what I wanted out of all of them.
Are you saying you have manipulated me?
Here's the thing. That's part of this, and we're going to get it. Manipulation is one of the things in here. And narcissists, it says they use emotions to manipulate people. I don't use emotion. I just know what I want, and I'm usually pretty good at being able to, like you said, I'm good at articulating what I want and why I want it. And usually I'm able to get people to come around to that agreement. I don't know if it's my intellect or my blue eyes. I've used both throughout my life, but I usually get what I want.
Oh my God. Okay, I take it all back.
Right. So that's the thing. It's I don't know if it's manipulation or if I'm just a good communicator who...
Well, narcissists are very smart. I mean, I'm not...
Thank you.
I mean, not necessarily, but I think I've just seen you very sincere in your desire for peace. Like, I've seen you very sincere in making amends. Like, where's Sam? I feel like
Sam and I talked about this.
Yeah. Okay. I'm intrigued.
It was a funny thing. I don't know. It's always hard to speak for her on the show.
Sure.
Just like Father Anthony and I have our private life. My wife and I have our private life.
Course.
This magic moment. But we talked about it, and she's like, we talked about it at our date night on vacation. It's like, I usually get what I want by communicating. And I don't even know, like, is that manipulative or am I just right? You know?
Yeah.
Like, and it's this weird thing that and as we get into like the description of what a narcissist is, I think I've been all of these at some point and not others at other points. So I think I've gotten better at it, which is interesting because like you and I just met 6 years ago, and I think I've grown a lot. I was crazy narcissist in like high school and college. And then like once I met Sam, started dating her, and getting older and getting, being more around holy people and that stuff, like I've gotten better.
Okay. But so to take it back to what I initially started with, which is like, of course I've experienced anxiety, but am I clinically diagnosed? I mean, can you have very selfish moments? Yes, I think that Taylor Schroll can have very selfish moments. I'm just not sure that this makes this diagnosable.
So I'm glad you brought that back out, because I was going to respond to that, because like I think it has been very popular in our culture. Both clinical culture and things from the clinical side that have come into our culture. Like, you are not depressed, you have depression. Or you are not special needs, you have a special need, or something like that, right? Like, you are not defined by that, right? And I think that's part of like what you're getting at, or at least like where I'm hearing that. It's like, you are not a narcissist, you have narcissistic tendencies, right? And I can see the healthy side of that. But I think there's also a danger of like not owning the things that you have, right? Where it's like, if I say, oh, I'm not narcissistic, I have narcissistic tendencies, or I can be narcissistic, it's belittling or like putting down the times that I have hurt people by being narcissistic. Does that make sense?
It does, but and I am no professional, to be clear, but I think that
Where's your husband?
Right. But I think there's a moment for someone who is struggling with anxiety where it is diagnosable, where it's like, at what point is this disrupting my life? So like for me, having anxiety or, anxious moments, it's like, but I'm functional in my life. So where's that moment? Where's that line? I think that, I think that people talk about confidence and security is as like the same thing. Whereas somebody who has a lot of self-confidence, like if you think about a bully, I just heard this on a podcast, it was brilliant. But they're talking about a bully. It's like they have a lot of self-confidence. It's just that confidence isn't stable. It's not secure. So they might have confidence, but they're insecure in their confidence. So I think that similarly, there's a lot of nuance, and it becomes really tricky to just throw around these labels that actually mean a lot.
Then let's go through it. So here's what this comes from psychalive.org.
Okay.
I don't know anything about them. They just had a nice little pretty graphic that I found. Are you a narcissist is the question. Yes. You raised your hand.
I had an idea, but it can wait.
Okay. Self-centered. Constantly thinking about yourself. I'm a millennial. That is we are always thinking about ourselves, maybe not selfishly, even whether I'm doing this selfishly or unselfishly, I am thinking about how I relate to everyone. So even when I'm thinking like positively about someone, like, oh, like I really like Allison, her and I are good friends. I'm involved in that. Right?
Sure.
She's a good friend to me. She's a good mom. And that's a good example to me. And like, yeah, I get that. Like you have your own life over there, but like most of the time when I'm thinking, it is in relation to me.
Yeah.
Right.
How they make you feel.
Right. Focus on getting your own needs met, and often ignoring the needs of others. This is where my wife and I got into it. Like, not like fight, but we were laughing about this. Is because like there are times when Taylor finishes his day. Narcissist speak in third person, by the way.
Oh.
So, I get done with my day and I go close that door in my living room and I play video games and everyone else is over there.
Yeah.
They needed to go to the bathroom. That's their problem. They need to get fed. That's for Sam to take care of. And like,
Mm-hmm.
that is, so I got to check on that one. But I also, like, a big part of my life at the same time is like sacrificing for the good of other people. So it's weird. Like, I turn it on and off, right? Like, when it comes to ministry, I'm sacrificing everything so that other people can have a good event, can have a great podcast, can have a great other thing. So it is just funny. Like you were saying, like, maybe this is like, I do have moments of, I'm like, usually it is around stress or anxiety. It's like, I'm shutting off. I can't help anybody else.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in this room and y'all need to leave me alone.
That would be a big problem.
Yeah. Sense of entitlement or superiority. Feeling that you're always right. I am. And like, we joke about it. Like, it's a joke that I say that I'm always right. But I think I am. It's very hard. I love learning. I love learning new things. It's very hard for me to be swayed from my opinion, which is a good thing in a Catholic when it comes to Catholic teaching. But good thing I've gotten good with words.
I relate to this one because I have good intuition. And so people with good intuition can very rarely be talked out of their intuition. So, yeah.
This next one. Right. It's hard to talk me out of something when I think I'm right. Feeling that you are better or deserve more than other people. I don't often think I'm better than people, but to deserve more, like, I can get into that, where it's like, I know that there are other podcasters in the same kind of vein that I am that have way more listeners than me, and I've listened to it, and I'm like, why? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Y'all should listen to me. So I do have some of that. Lacking of empathy. Now, this is, so like, a lot of those, it's like, the ones that we've done so far, I'd say like, maybe 50% of the time. Lack of empathy. I empathize with, like, I feel everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like when I'm in a conflict with someone, I'm constantly like thinking about it, feeling it. Like, it sucks. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Right? So that one, I'm good on that one. We finally got one where Taylor's not narcissistic. Hallelujah. Manipulative or controlling. We talked about this earlier, where it's like using emotions to manipulate people. No. Tendency to be extremely jealous and controlling in relationships. Like, no. But I do get what I want a lot. So maybe I am just smart and good with words.
I think you're just a pain in the behind, Taylor. I don't think you're a narcissist.
Well, maybe this is part of the reason why.
I think you're just obnoxious. I mean, the narcissist in my life, it is eggshells. You are like walking on eggshells. I say whatever the heck I want to you. I mean, truly, like and maybe that's a more appropriate question for Sam is like, do you feel like you have to tiptoe around me? But I know
that, like, I
think you're difficult.
I know that people that I've worked with have tiptoed around me, and it drives me crazy because I want to help. But there have been people that I think it's more like it's. I don't think that has to do with this. It's more like introvert extrovert thing, where like I'm such a big personality that a lot of times quieter people don't want to approach me because they think I'm going to yell.
Because you're a pain,
right? But I'm also very good. So if you want good, I'm always right. So if you want good advice, you better deal with it and come listen to me. The last three: strong need for admiration, demand admiration or praise. Praise me! I've never done that in my entire life.
I don't know. I think you like a lot of praise.
I don't need it. I find it fascinating that like the need for the admiration is on this list because everything else on this. If you're always right, why do you need people to tell you that? If I think I'm always right. If I think I'm good,
back to high confidence, but no security. It's too fragile. Yes, this person has a lot of confidence and thinks highly of themselves, but it's fragile. It can be taken down at any moment. So you have to insist. I
don't need people to tell me I'm the best. I know it. So maybe I'm just prideful, more prideful than a narcissist. Like to be a center of attention. Most of the time, yes. People know this about me. People are surprised when it doesn't bother me that I'm not the center of attention. I like being the center of attention, like on, I'm in front of a camera all the time. It's not a surprise. Yeah. I used to be on stages all the time, and I like that. But I also like sinking into places sometimes when I'm not, when I'm not there to be the center of attention.
Exactly.
Right?
To just receive.
Right. Difficulty taking feedback. This one's interesting. Because a lot of times
Depends on who.
It depends on who. If I respect the person.
Respect, yeah.
But it's also like I'm very good at taking feedback or criticism from somebody who is better at the thing that they're criticizing me on.
Okay.
So like if somebody who is a terrible public speaker is telling me that I'm a bad public speaker, I don't care. Like I won't listen.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not going to. I'm just going to disregard it. Right.
Yeah.
Somebody tells me I'm a bad podcast. I don't. What do you know? You know.
Right.
If Joe Rogan said it, okay, maybe I'd listen and I'd hear. Oh, what do you actually think? Right.
Yeah.
But the times where I have not reacted well. There have been multiple times where I don't react well to criticism, and it's people. We've all done this. They're trying to make me more like them, and I'm not like them.
Right. Oh. Yeah. No, yeah. I hear that.
Yeah. You need to not say so many snide comments. You don't say snide comments. I do.
Yeah.
You need to be less boisterous. I literally can't. Like
I laugh loud, I sneeze loud.
Right.
Deal.
The last one, easily wounded. Not easily,
No.
but like when I'm wounded, like it's the empathy thing. I feel it. I feel it pretty good. So I think when I was in high school and college, I just found it fascinating and like that I do have a lot of prideful narcissistic tendencies. I don't think I'm a narcissist anymore. And I think that has come with a lot of like becoming a husband and a father. That comes with a lot of self-sacrifice where you have to sacrifice and give up your own needs and desires for somebody else. But they're still there, I think, sometimes.
I feel like you need a crash course in like, well, first of all, I need to introduce you to some narcissists, like some real deal narcissists.
It'll be fun. I'm better than you. No, I'm better than you. Awesome.
No, I am telling you. I feel like I know you well enough to know that we've just had like sincerely tender moments where we have like met in the middle, and you know, I to all of that. Listeners still like him. He's delightful. I just feel like so much of, you know, what you take on from that. So a lot of it's a shtick. No? Yes?
I think I have taken my worst qualities and turned them into a shtick.
That's right. Yes. Yes. But the truth of you, like the real like relationship of you is really not that. Like you can really, I don't know, like the things that matter in life, the things that are just morally right, that keep relationships going, you know, whether it's compromise, forgiveness, apologies, like you do all that.
Well, that's ironic because we also talked about on your back porch that I just ended like 5 relationships in my life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but you know how I am. Like loyalty is my love language. And so I'm like, yeah.
You're always on my side.
Yeah, totally.
Sam and I talked about that because Sam and I were talking about it, and you got brought up because that's how this whole thing started.
It's how it came up, yeah.
And I actually said that about you. That's one of the qualities that you and I both have. Like we have always been on each other's side,
yes,
whether we think that person is right.
Oh, it doesn't matter. We'll talk about that later. No, I don't care.
It's so good. Well, listeners, I'm interested to hear what you guys think because y'all have heard me, and a lot of you have been around for a long time. I started the show the same time I met Allison. So I think I'm more narcissistic. I'm so
nervous for you right now.
I think the listeners think that I'm super narcissistic. I think you have seen me. You've seen both sides of me.
I'm sweating.
What do you guys think? No matter what happens, it'll be good for me because the comment section will be going crazy.
Oh my gosh, yes.
All right, what do y'all think? Am I narcissistic or not? Have I gotten better? Am I a terrible person? What do you think? Let me know in the YouTube comments, the social media comments. Tag Allison so she can come to my defense if you're being mean. We'll be right back. For those of you on Instagram, if you want some entertainment on your feed, you should follow Catholic Dating Nightmares. It's hilarious. Like terrible things that have happened on Catholic dates. If you want to find a good way to find a Catholic to date, you can do so by signing up for free at catholicmatch.com/forte. That gives you a free account. It's a safe way to date. You can trust the people that you meet on there. I mean, are there some weirdos on there? Sure. But you can, swipe away from them and it'll be perfectly fine. You can meet on Zoom. You can meet on FaceTime. You can meet in person. I told y'all a couple weeks ago, I had 2 of my friends that didn't know each other, but I knew both of them meet on Catholic Match, kind of talk for in the talking stage, whatever. kids are calling it these days. We called it talking. And they started dating after they went on a date when the guy was staying at my house. It was tremendous. So sign up today at catholicmatch.com/Forte. Anybody that has signed up in the last few months that we've been promoting this and for the next few weeks is entered in to get a free premium membership. So do that today, catholicmatch.com/Forte. Welcome back. I'm narcissistic and she's anxious.
I'm anxious about you being narcissistic is what I am.
One of the things that's different about this week is that a couple of years ago, or maybe like a year ago, we used to record on like Monday or Tuesday and then release the show on Wednesday.
Right.
Well, a while back, we started, I was like, this is just too much stress. We can't reschedule if something comes up.
Sure. Yeah.
It doesn't give me as much time to edit and all this kind of stuff. So we started recording a week ahead.
Yes.
And that was really good. And then, I used to be able to like react to things at Sunday Mass because it was like Sunday. We recorded Monday and Tuesday.
Yes.
And then it would release on Wednesday. Well, now since we're recording early, like I can't predict the future.
Right.
So
you could look up the readings, but come on.
Only crazy people
Taylor.
read the readings before Mass. Everybody suggests, every Catholic speaker is like, oh, here's the 2 things you should do to change your life today. Pray 10 minutes a day. Great advice. Read the readings before Mass. Takes all the fun out of the first half of Mass.
Right.
Like the church is built for you to pray and meditate on those things that day. Leave the church alone.
Okay.
That's my... I guess that's not my hottest take of the day. you think I'm being crazy earlier.
Yeah, I'm stressed.
But we are able this week to react to something that happened this past Sunday.
Yes.
So the
real time
sequences happen in like big celebrations of the church. Like there's the Easter sequence. There's a Christmas sequence.
Yes.
And it's this prayer after the readings, but before the Alleluia. You've experienced this. Yes. Okay. I asked you before the show if you experienced the one for the celebration of Corpus Christi this past Sunday.
Right.
And you said you didn't go to Mass.
Well, I didn't say that. I just said that did not happen.
Right. So it's an option. Like I grew up not hearing the sequence. Maybe I heard the Christmas Easter sequence. Right.
Yeah. Right.
But like these other big feast days,
Right.
Christ the King, Corpus Christi, all these things.
Right.
They're optional and often omitted. Because like they do make the Mass longer, like this Mass with the sequence and with the like procession after Mass, like it was like an hour and a half long. So they're optional, but we did it. So I experienced it, but I don't. If I've experienced the sequence on Corpus Christi before, I don't remember it.
Okay.
Because I don't remember hearing.
Yeah, I
this
don't.
prayer.
I
Okay.
have no idea what's coming.
I took a picture. During the homily, I took my phone out and took a picture of the sequence because I was like. It was such a weird experience for me because they're in stanzas where it's like a poem, right? It's a song.
Yes.
It's like 3 lines. There's the option to have like the 6 stanza one. Obviously, our church didn't pick that one. We picked the one that took 6 minutes, right? Like all of the stanzas, okay?
All of them. Yes. Okay. I see.
So I want to go through some of these. We won't go through the whole thing.
Okay.
But I think you'll pick up kind of what I was getting because the reason I want to talk about this is every other stanza was like beautiful, like ancient, beautifully written prayers of the church.
Okay.
And then the next stanza was like, I don't think that was grammatically correct. I think there were 18 commas. I don't understand the content. I don't even get what you were trying to say. It's like...
So it's like if you and I sat down to co-write something and my part was fantastic and yours was a hot mess.
It would be like if we were like, we decided on a theme. Like we decided on Body and Blood of Christ. And then I wrote something and you wrote something and we just alternated words of what we said.
Oh.
The, body, spirit.
Okay.
Like it was
okay.
straight.
I'm excited. I need to hear this.
Here's the first one. Laud, O Zion, which, I mean, I guess church word, laud. What does laud mean? L-A-U-D.
I can't know.
I think it means like, hail, you are awesome. It says it twice in the first 2 sentences.
Using my context clues, I'd agree with you, but just if it were on paper, I'd not say that.
Laud, O Zion, your salvation. Laud with hymns of exaltation. Christ your King and Shepherd true. I mean, that's all good stuff. I think it's weird English.
Yeah.
But that was my first experience. Kind of like, beautiful, but odd.
Okay.
Bring him all the praise you know. He is more than you bestow. Never can you reach his due. Strange rhyming pattern.
Yeah, I like that.
But good. Okay. Special theme for glad Thanksgiving is the quickening and the living, bread today before you set. What?
What?
Special theme for glad Thanksgiving. I guess the theme is the body and blood of Christ. Is the quickening. Isn't that like a pregnant woman in the old days? She's quickening. Isn't that what that means? Are we becoming pregnant with the body of Christ?
Quickening and
the living. Bread today before you set. Okay, Yoda. Bread today before you set. From his hands of old partaken, as we know, by faith unshaken, where the 12 at supper met. It's complicated but good.
Okay.
I like that one.
Okay.
From the hands of old. Like, this is an ancient thing. 2,000 years of this. Our faith is unshaken.
Yeah. Okay.
Where the 12 at supper met. Like
yes. Yeah. I see.
Yeah, okay. That's where this all started.
Okay.
I like that.
I'm sorry. That took a second, but
so
yes.
now I'm like praying with this. I'm like, this is good.
Yeah. Okay.
Full and clear, ring out your chanting. Joy nor sweetest grace be wanting. From your heart, let praises burst. Good first and last line. What does that middle one mean? Joy, not sweetest grace be wanting.
Gosh.
Exactly. For today the feast is holden when the institution olden of that supper was rehearsed. Was the supper rehearsed?
Come on. Come on.
I think this is, I'm sure the church is right. But what I understand from this, the supper rehearsed is like what Protestants accuse us of. That we're just playing pretend and rehearsing the dinner. It's actually happening. Very confusing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Here the new law's oblation, by the king's new revelation, ends the form of ancient rite. Beautiful! I'm going crazy!
Right.
That's so good!
Yeah, right.
After the craziness, and I don't want to say heresy, because they can't say that in church, but at least how I hear it. I'm sure I'm wrong, but I'm always right. Let's skip to one.
I have to say, I'm having like some mixed emotions about critiquing a prayer. Like, it's like, you're stressing me out a lot in this episode.
It's a sequence. we're critiquing a sequence.
Okay. Oh, you're right. I see.
I think part of it is, and I know, like, I've seen priests recently this past week, like be critical of how things are worded in the matrimony mass.
Now listen, I'm not trying to
You didn't
sound.
hear a word I said.
Yes, I did. But the priests are critiquing this too. I am not trying to sound like holier than thou, that like I can't critique something, because I think Paul really should learn how to use a comma and a period. I mean, it's like
didn't have those when he was there.
One run-on sentence after another.
Yet.
I'm like, I just feel like you could have been a lot more clear with some punctuation. So I'm not like trying to pretend that, I don't.
We can critique Paul, but not some old dude.
A sassy attitude when it comes to. I think a lot of it, Taylor, to be honest, for me, is that I don't know what's going on. Okay, here's an unpopular opinion. You know how there are like things that everyone else likes except you don't, and you're like, you know what? I'm fine with the point deduction. I don't care. I don't like to camp. I just don't. I don't like to camp. I don't like concerts. I don't like Nutella. I think it's chocolate's ugly cousin. Like, I'm
having deja vu. You have said all of this in succession before, right here.
No, no, you want not right here. No,
yes, you have.
No.
On this show.
No, I have put it in a post in a Friday introduction because I was like, you know what?
No, we have talked about your hatred for camping and Nutella right here.
Okay,
I promise you.
Well, whatever. But I have written it for a Friday introduction because I'm like, listen, if you're here because these are some unpopular things that we should know about each other right off the bat. These are the things that you like that I don't, and I'm fine. Whatever. Here's one of them. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Poetry. Like, just say what you mean, man. Like so this feels very poetic to me, and so it's all lost on me.
We got back. I don't know where you went for a little while, but we got back around to the point I'm going to make at the end of this. Very good.
Okay.
Proud of you. Hey, Nutella. Okay, Allison. Here's the one. I think this might bother you.
It tastes like plastic.
I thought about what you used to be when I heard of this.
What?
Here, listen to this. This
tired
for context,
of listening to this.
You're worried about me poking holes in the prayer. And you're like, I'm tired of this prayer. It's the worst. I'm worried for you now. Listen to this. Listen to me. They're very important things to say. All in the context of this in this statement is the body and blood of Christ. It's Corpus Christi. This is the truth that every Christian learns. Bread into flesh he turns, to his precious wine the blood. Every Christian. I don't know. I think that's pretty specifically Catholic.
Yeah.
We as Catholics say, oh, all your other body and blood of Christ is fake. And then we're like, every Christian knows this.
This was written when everyone was Catholic.
Maybe. It probably was.
It was.
Oh, there were some other ones that just drove me crazy. But, I mean, so the whole reason that I want to keep going, but you don't.
No, don't make me.
They said damnation in one of the prayers. My son looked at me.
Oh yeah.
But here's the thing, and I think my experience of Catholicism over my entire life is very similar to my experience of this prayer sitting in church on Sunday.
Okay, I'd like to hear the summary.
Every other stanza. So like if a stanza is a period of time. It's how I feel about the church. Like, I'm sure you're right, but what I'm hearing is very strange.
Okay.
And this line is beautiful and helping me go into prayer, and I'm feeling the depth of the oldness and the richness of this church.
Mm-hmm.
And the next line, I'm like, I don't even understand what you just said.
Yeah.
There's this beauty and this mystery, and I'm frustrated. Sometimes the mystery is beautiful. Sometimes the mystery is insanely frustrating. And I think the Corpus Christi sequence is Catholicism in a nutshell.
I'm going to stick with my hypothesis, which is that two people who have very different styles just got together and tried to make some magic.
Hey, Nutella!
Magic moment. They tried to make a magic moment.
Well, that's a different connotation after how this show has gone. So the other thing that I felt about this at the end of Mass, I found it fascinating, and I actually love this because have you ever been involved with a Corpus Christi procession?
I don't know.
Okay, so at the end of Mass, usually they only do it, like most parishes I've been involved in, do it at like one Mass for the weekend because they're not going to do it over and over again. But
okay. Oh,
like written into the Mass is like the Mass, like usually there's the final prayer and the go in peace, right? That doesn't happen when you do the Corpus Christi Mass with like the way that if you want to celebrate the full feast, this is how you do it, right?
Okay.
So the Mass doesn't end, communion ends, and then they bring out a monstrance. And then usually how it is, and like I see pictures and stuff. I'm surprised you hadn't seen this. Maybe you've seen it. But
maybe I have, and I didn't realize what was going on.
You'll like process with the monstrance.
I've never done
the priest is out front. I've been involved in a bunch of them because I'm better than you. But you like process throughout the city or the couple blocks around your church. Like when out like there was one. Most churches are on like a block, right?
Yeah.
So you just go around the block and then you go back in.
Yeah.
Everybody kneels. You do benediction. And then the Masses end to go in peace.
Yeah, I would definitely remember that.
So I've been involved in quite a few, and I think for whatever reason, I don't know why they did it, but how they did it this time was more like a procession, like you would have at a like youth ministry Eucharistic adoration event, where we did. Communion ends, they go to the monstrance, the incense, and then they process down the middle aisle. They went down the side aisle. They went back up the front, back up the other side aisle, and then back down the middle. Like we would do it at an encounter at XLT or those kind of things, right?
Yeah.
And to me, it was I loved it so much because it was this ancient tradition that we have done so much. And like the processing around like outside always just kind of felt weird to me because it's like you're saying like there are many things that I've heard around this. I don't know what the original intention was, but that Jesus is still king of the land, so it's even outside the churches is like that's a cool image. But at the same time, you're walking around and like we live in the world, like we realize he's the king, but there's another king vying for the title, like Satan's. Like that's been the whole thing of history, right? Yeah. Where it's like God's in heaven and he's the king of heaven. He's also the king of earth, but Satan has some power and dominion here, right?
Yes.
So we see in the news, we see in our lives, we see in our cities, like Jesus is not king. So like walking around and like reminding people, it's like it's good, but also it kind of bothered me a little bit, right? But then then there's other things where it's like, okay, he isn't there, so let's bring him there. Okay, that's a cool connotation too, but for me, just because I'd never experienced it, just being inside and amongst the people, just the people of God. We're not worried about the people outside, but in that moment, like after everything that has happened, being away from church for so long, COVID, and everything bad that has happened, it was so good to have the reminder that Jesus still walks amongst his people.
I love it.
And I'm sitting there, I got goosebumps now.
Yeah,
I had
powerful.
goosebumps
I love it.
there. And it's like this ancient, again, just like we're, like the sequence. Sometimes we don't get it. We don't get what's going on. It's weird. The church can word things strangely. But it was just like, there is Jesus in the host being walked around by Jesus in persona Christi in the priest. And he's just walking amongst his people. And it's like Jesus, like, because we always say like, oh yeah, Jesus walked on the world 2,000 years ago. But here he was 2 days ago walking amongst his people.
Yeah.
And it was just a really special moment.
I love it, Taylor. Look at that beautiful little soapbox that you just hopped on and off of. That was beautiful.
I love Nutella.
No, but I mean, I appreciate you teaching me about that. I like your perspective. I'll keep it.
Well, good. So I'm not anti-procession outside. I think they're cool, but I think changing up things every now and then to give a different perspective is really helpful.
For sure.
Ever ancient, ever new. That's our show for today. Allison, thanks for being here. This was fun.
Yeah.
I'll be back next week. Say it. Thank you for sticking with us to the end of our show today. I hope that you enjoyed it because you either enjoyed it or you fell asleep. That's the only way anybody makes it to the end of shows. If you did enjoy it, give us a rating wherever you are listening on podcast. Drop a comment if you're listening on YouTube, your favorite part or a question you may have. And if you were listening on the podcast, you can leave a review in that app or comment. Let us know. I mean, what's the crazy question I asked today? Well, oh yeah, is Taylor a narcissist? You can answer that on our social media feeds at Taylor Schroll on Twitter and Instagram, at Forte Catholic on Twitter. Let us know at Forte Catholic on Facebook as well if you are over the age of 57 and are still on Facebook. Thank you guys so much for enjoying today's show. Y'all are the best. Bye.